¿Cómo? ¿Qué? Ah, ok. ¿Oyes música? Bien. ¿Eh? Hi there, my friends. Welcome to another edition of Growth Bites. Remember that we get together here every Tuesday for just 30 minutes at lunchtime Eastern or at 9 a.m. Pacific. And what we do is we discuss your hot questions in regards to, development advice, topics that have to do with your boss, with your team, peers, how to handle your career. Essentially, coaching that is regarding your development. Doesn't have to be strictly related to your career, executive presence, etc. In case you don't know me, I'm Eduardo. I'm a former Fortune 500 CFO turned executive coach. I help leaders like you grow not only in their careers, but in other aspects of their whole self. So what happens is that they stand out from the rest. They're recognized for faster growth and earmarked for more and faster promotions and become more complete. What we do is we work on their personal lives and their careers so they align with their values and with their long-term goals. Things like happiness or security or fulfillment. So if that sounds like you, let's get in touch. Find me on LinkedIn, send me a mail, or leave me a comment. Let's get on a brief complimentary chat and see how coaching can help you. I'll leave my scheduling link in the comments. So let me, as usual, share with you the weekly quote. So let me get there. And here it is. It's one that I really like. And it's by Brené Brown. Self-forgiveness is a crucial part of the journey to self-acceptance and maturity. Think about that one. This is really, really important. We tend to be too tough on ourselves. We tend to be very, very self-demanding. And the slightest thing that we do wrong, the slightest thing that doesn't go according to plan becomes something that we hit ourselves over the head with. So this quote is about you being able to give yourself some grace, to see yourself as a fallible being that will make mistakes, but that understands that mistakes are just a part of life and it's part of the learning process. That's why I like this quote. So keep that in mind. Self-forgiveness is a crucial part of the journey to self-acceptance and maturity. This is especially applicable when you're facing tough situations, things where you might be wondering, was that me? Did I do something wrong? This is exactly when that comes in. Maybe you did something wrong, who knows? The important part is that you accept yourself with your mistakes, with your errors, and don't see them as failings, but as steps to learning. All right, my friend? Cool, let's go. First question. How do I measure my readiness for an executive role? This is a key question. It's super, super common. There's really no hard, fast rules to measure how ready you are. I would say that the thumb rule here is for you to be executing at a level higher than you already are placed. Let's say that you were a manager and you want to become a senior manager. Well, you need to be performing at the level of a senior manager at least. Why? Because people, before promoting you, will try to see whether after being promoted, you can go the next step after that. So you don't just get promoted on a partial scale, like on a gradual way. You're promoted with a view, with an eye towards whether you can go further, whether you can indeed become a longer term, higher level leader for the enterprise. So make sure that you're not seeing your promotion as something that you're just kind of watching the clock and saying, okay, hey, I need to be promoted. X amount of time has lapsed. It's not time driven, it's merit driven. What are you doing to be considered as somebody who's performing at a level above where you're currently sitting? That's very, very important. So that's how I would view this question. How do you measure your readiness? Are you consistently delivering at a level above, at the level at which you want to be promoted at least? That's number one. Number two is make sure that you have conversations with your boss. As you're getting ready to get to that point where you could get promoted, what's still something that you need to work on? What are the priority areas? What are the things that you need to demonstrate consistently so that your supervisor can confidently think about you as that next level leader? That way you avoid navigating in the dark. That way you know what you're shooting towards. You know that point in the horizon you're sailing towards. So what are you aiming for? Make sure that you're working on what really will make a difference, and nothing wrong. On the contrary, right? More important, ask, where can you still do better? Where can you tighten your performance? Where can you still do better so that you will be more readily acceptable? I hope that's clear. It's a simple, straightforward answer. At the same time, it's a complicated one. There's no single response, but it's more, in my view, an examination and an inward examination of how much you are executing at a level that's beyond where you currently are. Nobody's going to promote you for free. You have to demonstrate that you already are performing at that new level, and that you can go forward and beyond that. Okay, how can I develop stronger relationships with key stakeholders? This is, again, one of the most important questions. It sounds simple and it sounds evident, but at any level, if you want to grow, this is crucial. You need to develop good relationships with your stakeholders being your boss, peers to your boss, people who are not necessarily peers to your boss, who might be more senior to you, and even your peers. As far as I know, in more than 34 years of career, 35 years of career, more, I would say that I never saw anybody get promoted in isolation. That means that in order for you to be perceived as a leader who will be promoted, as a leader who will have influence, as a person who is worth listening to, you need to reach out to others. You need to be able to communicate in a succinct, clear, well-articulated, well-thought-out manner. So that's very important. For you to develop stronger relationships with your key stakeholders, first thing is be visible. Every opportunity you have to interact with them, do so. Be ready. Prepare for that opportunity whenever it comes, so that when you run into them, you have something to say, you have a question to ask, you have an opinion to voice, you have a small talk comment to make. Make sure that when they see you, they remember you, that they know what your name is, that they know where you stand, that they have a sense that you are that next leader that they should be keeping an eye on. If you have meetings, presentations that they give, chats that they give, whatever, make sure that you have something to say. And I'm not saying fall in love with the sound of your voice. I'm saying be ready to say something. Think things through. Don't say things if you have nothing to say, or if you're just going to say it to not be quiet. That's probably not optimal, because you might end up saying something that could not be well thought through or fully cooked. So make sure that you're visible. Make sure that you are out there. What's the word? That you're volunteering to take the leadership on things that are important. That you are visible as somebody who will be able and who's willing to take the leadership, to step out there and to drive things forward at whatever level you have. It starts with becoming visible, and that's asking questions, reaching out, walking up to them, introducing yourself in the most respectful way. But that's how you make yourself known. And that's how you can develop a relationship to begin with. And then you continue to be ready and to use the same principles to strengthen that budding relationship. That's important. So this is a crucial question, again, because you will never get promoted if nobody knows you. You will never get promoted if nobody has anything to say about you. So be visible, have an opinion, be ready, show that you are operating at the next level up, show that your view is wider than what might be expected of others at your level, and make sure that you're showing that you can do more and bigger things. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, how can I identify blind spots in my leadership skills? Well, One word answer: feedback. Never be shy to ask for feedback. Be humble. Talk to your team members and ask them, am I doing something, that I could be doing better? What should I start, stop, or continue doing? There's nothing wrong with you being humble and showing that you're open to listening. The key part here, my friend, now I want you to listen to this. The key part here is whatever they tell you, whatever feedback they gave you, it's a gift. So don't squander it. Show that you can do something with it. Show that you're willing to act on the feedback received. It's either a builder of trust in a big way because they gave you feedback, they know it's safe, and you acted upon it to become better. Or it could be detrimental to the trust that you have with your team if you just ask for feedback, you're insincere, and then you go back to being whoever you were before. You're just throwing away whatever feedback they gave you. So be sincere about it, be authentic. Feedback is how you get better, how you close your leadership gaps. It doesn't have to be only your team. Again, this is an all-encompassing 360 kind of thing. You can talk to your boss, talk to your peers, talk to other stakeholders, get a mentor, talk to your mentor about it. Get the feedback and be humble and be ready to maybe hear something that could be difficult to hear. What am I doing that I could be doing better? What should I stop doing? What should I start doing? And just take it. And be sure to thank the person who gives you the feedback, because it is a gift. It's a gift that will really propel you and that should really enrich you, provided that you act on it, my friend. So that's the important part. That's how you close your leadership gaps. The other half of it, I already alluded to it, is do something with the feedback that you receive. And you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. I know that I botched up a number of opportunities as I was growing up. That's normal. That's part of the process of growing up and learning. So don't be afraid, but try. Be sincere. Be honest about it. Let them see you try. Ask feedback about how you're implementing their feedback. And that'll open up a good, healthy dialogue that'll help you build stronger bonds of trust, that'll help you, produce better engagement with your team, and that will give you more self-confidence. Like I said with the quote at the beginning, self-acceptance is so important to maturity. Know that you're not perfect, ask for what you could do to improve, and act on that, and accept yourself. When people give you feedback for things to improve, they're not dinging you, they're not trying to hurt you, they're trying to help you. They're trying to help you get better. That's the frame that you need to take with this. So I love this question. I think that this is super important. You need to be self-aware and you need to be hungry to hear more about how to do better. Thank you for that question. Let's go to the next one. How do I motivate underperforming employees? Well, I will go back to an old topic that I keep bringing up, which is communication and transparency. If you have an underperforming employee, it should not be unknown to them that you're seeing their performance as subpar. They should know, they should have heard it from you in a constructive way, in a non-hurtful way, in a way that will show that you want to build them up, not break them down. But they should know that you expect more, and they should know what exactly they need to do better. Where are they, flailing that they need to get better at? And they need to know that they can count on you, or that you're giving them the resources that they need to address whatever shortcoming they might have. So the first thing, again, to help an underperforming employee is transparency. Let them know where they need to do better. Let them know why. Let them know what the impact is to your organization. That's super important. Another one that you need to think about is, are you clear as to what direction you're giving them? Let me tell you this. It could be that their underperformance is driven by a lack of direction by you. So examine yourself. Are you being clear with them? Do they know what's expected? Do they understand why that is expected? Do they understand what effect that'll produce on the organization? They need to know all these things so that they can perform at their best. It's unfair if you will ask somebody to do something and you let whatever personal chemistry tint your perception, and you fail to realize that they might be underperforming because you didn't give them enough direction. So when you see somebody in your team who's not performing up to the level that you expect, even if you have others who are, make sure that you have given them clear direction, that they understand why, and that they have all of the resources that they might need from you, just like you would have with any other member of your team. If you're doing what you're expected to do as a leader, then be there for them. Again, tell them where exactly they need to tighten up, where exactly they need to improve. Give them a plan. It depends on the degree. I don't know how badly your colleague might be underperforming, but if it's something that's been going on for a while and you're doing what you need to be doing as a leader, then I don't know, maybe you need to put them on some sort of performance improvement plan where you specify really clearly what you need them to do, by when you need them to do what good looks like, so that they have a very clear understanding. Now, the best way to motivate them is give them small, short-term wins, so that as they attain the milestones that you will set out for them, they feel more confident, they feel better, they feel they can. Again, this is predicated on the premise that you have assessed them and indeed they can. Let me turn to the other side of the coin here. If they are just not able to do what you expect them to do, don't mislead them. Be clear with them. Let them know too that this is the case, and explore options in a constructive way for them to do something different. This could also be a solution. I think that clear communication, transparency, honesty is going to be a lot more engaging and is going to be a lot more motivating than you being, tough or just letting them know that whatever they did was not enough. If you see that there's no way for the person to go to the level that you need, don't lead them on. Tell them that and help them plan for their next step and plan a change. Let them go and do the next thing. Be respectful of them. This is respectful of them. You're not wasting their time. You're not wasting everybody else's time in your team. Okay? So transparency, communication, and a true, honest willingness to help them improve is what I think is the best approach to handling employees who might be underperforming. Is there anything going on with their lives? Is there anything that could be affecting them outside of work? That could be a punctual event. Maybe they're facing a sickness at home. Maybe they're undergoing difficult relationship, a difficult phase in their relationship. It could be a divorce, could be something else. It could be that they're facing financial strain. It could be something else that's going on in their lives outside of work, and that's temporarily really affecting them. So make sure that you know what's going on with your team members before jumping to conclusions and just pulling the trigger. I've seen many companies where the person flags for whatever reason, and instead of trying to help them, managers are just too quick to pull the trigger and let them go, or give them a bad performance score, or just push them on to another team. This is something for you not to do. Address the issue, talk to the person, get to know the person. Forget the position, forget the job for a while. Try to get to know what's going on with your team member, and then go from there. It doesn't need to be that you're going to keep them in your team, but it does mean that you need to be fair and you need to be cognizant of what's going on so that you can best help them. Okay? All right, let's go to the last question. And this is, how do I recognize when it's time to move on from a job? Important question, my friend. How to recognize when it's time for you to move to a new job? Well, there's a lot of things that you need to think about when answering this question. I think that one of the most important is, if you are honest with yourself and you look at yourself in a mirror and you know that you've really done the best you can, that you really have given it your all, that you're not just running away, then if the culture, if the values, if the priorities don't jive with your values, with your culture, with your priorities, it could be a sign. So make sure that it's not you who's underperforming, and then you're starting to see the demands for you to perform better as quote unquote signs that you need to move on because the culture is bad. So I'll say that. I've seen too many people who start to blame the company, the boss, their peers, whoever, everybody but themselves. And that's what I call a victim. Don't be a victim. Own your responsibility. What did you do wrong, if there's anything? And again, if you did nothing, then analyze your environment, your company, the values, the priorities, and see if that agrees with your own values. In the long run, these things need to be consistent and compatible, because otherwise it's not sustainable. You're going to burn out. So that's the first part that I'm going to say to you. Analyze yourself. Make sure that you're not running away from anything, that you have nothing to run away from, and that it's truly a matter of fit. Other things to look at is, have you had discussions with your boss, and is your situation something that could change? So for example, have you been looking for a promotion that your boss keeps sort of offering or dangling in front of you, and there's nothing that you do that ever satisfies them? So it could be that they say do A, B, and C, and when you do A, B, and C, they still want you to do, D, E, and F, and they keep moving the goal every time. If you're certain that you've had the discussion, they know your interest, they are leading you on, then at some point you need to draw a line in the sand and say, if by this time nothing changes, if by this time I don't see anything happening that leads me towards where I think I need to be going, then yeah, sit down, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and analyze whether you should be thinking of moving on. So that's another one. Nothing wrong with getting an offer from the outside. Some companies hate it when I say this, but many executives grow this way. They get opportunities outside. So I'm not advocating for you to just go hunting. I'm advocating for you to be the owner of your career. If you see that there's a really, truly magnificent opportunity in front of you, then yeah, you owe it to yourself to evaluate it, to assess it, and maybe to take it. So a sign for you to move on from a job could be, hey, there's this phenomenal opportunity, you're ready for it, or you're up to the risk, and you want to take it because it's really, really better. My advice, it's your life, it's your career. So my advice would be, make sure that when you do that, it's because it's a worthy step. If you have a good job and you have something that's only marginally better, I would say think twice. I'm not saying don't take it. I'm just saying don't rush to it. Think twice. That could be a signal. Hey, there's something phenomenal that came to you. In my career, I had that where I was doing really, really well. I was fortunate enough to do well throughout my career. But when I had good, extraordinary opportunities, I took them. It was painful, it was difficult, it was complicated, and we can talk about how to do that in some other episode. But the most important thing is that you need to know that the risk is going to be worth it because the reward is that good. And you trust yourself and your abilities enough that you know that this is the right move to make. So it doesn't have to be something bad. It could be you found something extraordinary. Just make sure that it is indeed extraordinary. Is your is your culture, is your set of priorities, is your whole life in accordance to the life that results from integrating your job into it. If you're living a life because of the job that you have that is not integrated according to your priorities, to your bigger plan, then think again. You might not want to stay there. Maybe you do, and there's changes to make, and there's a conversation that you need to have with your boss about a different assignment, going to a different area, taking some time off. I don't know, you define it. But the most important realization here is you're a whole person. You're not just the professional part of you. There's a professional part of you that shows up at work mostly, but there's a who you truly are that shows up in your personal life. And both need to be harmoniously mixing. You're a whole person. So if you feel that integrating your work and your personal life is producing something that's just not who you are, that's just totally incompatible with your whole person, then that's a good sign. Think about it. Are there changes that you need to make? Are there things that you need to focus differently? Are there things that you need to stop doing or start or continue doing? And I always start with a self-examination. Before blaming anything else outside of you, look at yourself. If you're satisfied with what you see, then you can look outside and then you can see, all right, is there anything here that I need to communicate with somebody outside of myself, or that I just need to think long and hard about, do I want to continue to do this? So it's a nuanced answer. It's a very simple question. How do you recognize? But I don't know your specific situation. If you want to get on a call, feel free to DM me or put a comment in there. We'll get in touch, and we can talk a little bit more about that. But that's part of what you need to be thinking about. Are you okay? Are you doing okay? Are you doing everything that you should? With that in mind, is your work life working, compatible, aligned to your values? If it's not, well, give that a thought. If it is, then have a conversation with your boss. If there's something that you feel you're missing, examine yourself. Is there something you feel you're missing? Okay, I hope that made sense. My friends, we're at the bottom of the hour. We're actually a minute and a half away from the bottom of the hour, and I'm going to give you that time back. I wish you the best of Tuesdays. I wish you a phenomenal rest of the week and a phenomenal rest of the year, although I'll see you here next week. Have a wonderful day, and you know who I am, you know what I do, and you know where to find me in case you need any help. If there's anything that you want to know about coaching and how coaching can help you in your personal, professional, whole life as a whole person, you know where to find me. So just reach out, and I'll be happy to meet you and talk with you. Have a phenomenal day. Take care. Bye-bye, my friend.